Hi, today we are going to learn how to limit account access by logins. CM Restrict User Account allows you to automatically block or delete user accounts on your site after some period of time or restrict user accounts by the amount of logins. In this example use case video, we will consider how to restrict a user account access by the amount of logins. You can set daily, weekly and total limits for accessing your site for every user. It means when the user reaches one of the limits while logging in, he will not be able to log into your site. The logins restriction should be enabled separately for each user, but first we need to configure some general settings. Navigate to CM Restrict User Account Access Pro Settings. Here you can find two tabs with options. We will consider only those options that are related to login restriction feature. Here are the options that we need on the General tab. Pick the first day of the week. Choose the day that the week should start from. You can choose between Sunday and Monday. This option is important for setting the weekly limits of accessing the site. This option defines when to reset counter of accesses. It means it doesn't matter on which day the user was registered. It can be on Friday or Saturday, for example. Anyway, the counter of his weekly limits will be reset on Sunday or Monday, depending on what day you choose as start of the week. Login error message. You can set the message which appears if the user tries to log in after he reached his login limits. The following three fields let you define the default number of logins for the user. Pick the total accesses for user. This value must be more than for weekly and daily accesses. Pick the weekly accesses for user. This value must be less than for total accesses and more than for daily accesses. Pick the daily accesses for user. This value must be less than for total and weekly accesses. To make any of these parameters unlimited, you can check the option Unlimited Access on or off next to the needed parameter, or set the value -1. Have a note that these limits can be overridden separately for each user. The values you define in these fields are default. The default values are used in two cases. When the user is created and you enable limits for him, the start limit values are equal to default. Or if you change the limit values for the user and later want to reset them to default. The plugin has a few notifications that can be sent to the admin and user when the account is restricted. To configure them, navigate to the Notifications tab. There you can find two sections. Admin Notifications. In this section we need the following options. Admin Notification Addresses. Enter here the list of emails where the admin notifications should be sent. If there is more than one email, they should be separated by comma. Enable Limit Reached Notification. Enable this option if you want the admin to receive a notification when the user reached the access limit of logins. Admin Reached Limit Notification Subject and Text. Edit the email subject and email body for the admin notification. User Notifications. The options in this section are: Enable User Notification. Turn on this option if you want the user to receive a notification when his account reached the access limit of logins. User Notification Subject and Text. Edit the email subject and email body for the user notification. Email subject and email body for both notifications accept the following shortcodes for adding dynamic content. Action can be restricted or deleted. Username and user login. Configuration is completed. Now click the button Save at the bottom of the page. Now we can enable the restrictions for users. Navigate to Users, All Users. Hover on the user that you want to set the limits to and click Edit. Then scroll down to the section CM Restrict User Account Access. You can find there two options. We need the option Restrict User by Number of Accesses. Choose Yes to enable this restriction. When the option is enabled, a few new options will appear. Restrict Date From. Set the date and time when the following limits will start working. Before the defined date and time, the limits will not work and the user can log in unlimited amount of times. The following three parameters are duplicating the options from the plugin settings. The conditions about the values are the same. And you can also make any of these parameters unlimited by checking the option Unlimited Access on or off next to the needed parameter, or setting the value -1. When you first enable this restriction, the value in these three fields are equal to the default ones from the plugin settings. If you change these values for this user and want to reset them to the default, click the button Reset Login Limits. Each of these three parameters has a counter called Used Accesses. It displays how many times the user logged in. The counter daily number of access is reset every 24 hours, and weekly number of accesses is reset in the beginning of every week. In our case, on Monday, we defined it in plugin settings. When the user reached the limit in total number of accesses, he wouldn't be able to access the site anymore. You can reset these counters by clicking on the button Reset Login Counters. When you've finished setting restriction for the user, click the button Update User. Now get back to the list of all users. You can see restriction info for each user if defined in the column Total, Weekly, Daily. You can also see their value Grand Total. It counts how many times the user logged in general. So even if you use the Reset Login Counters button, it will not affect the grand total value as it counts all users' logins while the access limits feature is enabled for him. This value can be erased automatically only with deleting the user's account. Now when the user reaches the limit, he will see the message that he is not able to log in, and he and admin will receive an email notification about it. Following instructions found in the plugin and guides, you should be able to restrict a user account access by the amount of logins. Thanks for watching the video.